Greetings, fellow action figure connoisseurs, and welcome to another episode of Digital Caveman Presents Surprise Thursday. I, as always, am your host, the Digital Caveman, and today I will be presenting you with the Four Horsemen's Mythic Legions Poxxus. Let's get into it! Let's begin with a look at the packaging. And here you can see, first off, there is a nice big blister showcasing the figure and the accessories, Mythic Legions. And then here on the top, we've got Four Horsemen's logo, and then Four Horsemen information, mythiclegions.com, sourcehorseman.com, and storehorseman.com. So you can check out stuff at all those places. And then I have to say, I do like the artwork here on this bottom strip. And then on this side, I guess this is the logo for Poxxus's faction, which I'm assuming he's the leader of, since he's a god. And then here on the bottom, we've got, warning, don't stick things in your pie hole if they don't belong there. A barcode. Small fine legalese print, some more web addresses, adult collectible, ages 15 and up, made in China, and an item number. And then on this side, there's all the bio, I guess, of Poxxus, and I'm not going to read all of that to you. I did read it earlier, and it's very interesting. So if you want to read it, feel free to pause it right here and read through all that. So very cool there. Now on the back, we've got some nice artwork. And then here we have the Four Horsemen. We've got a cross sale. And I couldn't tell you who all these guys are. And then we also have some more information about the line overall. And again, if you want to read that, please feel free to pause it right now. And then you can have a look at all that text to your heart's content. And one thing I want to mention about this packaging, it's simple and it's genius at the same time. And it's kind of a throwback to stuff as well, how things used to be done. But you can actually, it's just the blister on the front, it's got these tracks in it, and along the bottom as well, and you can just cut the tape and this piece slides out and you can get to the figure, well, at least the tray that the figure and the accessories are in. And then if for some reason you wanted to, you could pack it all right back up, put a little bit of tape back on the tracks, and there you have it. Nice storage for your figure and their accessories to make sure they don't get lost. Again, if that's something you're interested in. Well, that, my friends, does it for a look at the packaging. Let's take a look at the figure and his accessory. And here we have handy dandy tweezers, which are my accessories, not his. But what a plethora of accessories. So we'll try to get through them kind of fast. At least as fast as I can. Which probably isn't very fast at all. So first up, he does come with 3 sets of hands. One set of C-grip up and down hinged, which are these. And look at the paint, like the fingernails, the sculpted detail, the wash in there. And this holds true for all of the hands. And just great sculpted detail. And same holds true for this one. I mean, just look at the veins. Very nice. Next up, we have the C-grip with the in and out hinges. And again, everything I just said about the other set holds true. And just great detail and wash. And I know I keep saying that, but it's true. And for the last set of hands, he's got like the grasping or clawing hands. And again, nice molded detail, nice paint, and a nice wash on it. Just to give him that kind of diseased look that I think they were really going for with this guy. Or maybe not diseased, but just dirty. So, very nice. Now, let's see what's next. First up, we have one of his arrows. And you can see it's made out of this translucent plastic. And on the end here, it's got like an insect, because apparently that's his thing. He shoots diseased insect arrows to infect populations. And then nice molded details down here where the feathers are as well. And I keep bumping the camera, I'm sorry. But What is a Digital Caveman presents review without bumping the camera some, or a lot. And then here's a different one, which you can see the feathers on the arrow down on this end. And it's made out of that same translucent material, but you can see it's more glowy, and it has multiple insects on here. So very cool. So he can infect a bunch of people at one time, and not just one. And here's another translucent piece, and nice molded details in it. And you ask, well, how does this connect on him? Well, we'll get to that in a minute. So, but very nice. And like this side is raised up, and the other side, this side is smooth. So, just really cool. At least I think it is. Next up, we have a knife and its sheath, or a dagger and its sheath. And let's look at the dagger first. So, looks like nice. I mean, it looks completely painted. The handguard, the blade, the wrap, in between the wrap, the pommel. I mean, all of it. And it's great looking. And then here's another really detailed painted piece, which is the sheath or scabbard for it. You notice it's got that L-shaped, upside down L bracket on here, so it clips onto his belt. And you know, so all the details don't go all the way around, like especially on here, because it kind of flattens out, so that's understandable. But then under here where it's not, you know, needed to fit on the belt, you know, we have details, and they're painted, and just really fantastic looking. And the knife fits in there snugly, and I haven't noticed any paint rubbing at all, so that may change over time. I'm not sure. So here's his quiver, and again, it looks like it's got a bit of a wash to it down here, and I'm not sure if it's molded in this color plastic or if that's a paint. It feels, it's hard to tell. I mean, I can't really tell. It does feel a little plasticky, so it could just be it's molded in this color, and then it has this wash on it to kind of help the details on it stand out. But this part is definitely painted, and it looks like maybe it has a bit of a wash on it too. And then this looks like it's paint as well, but I could be mistaken. This could actually be a separate piece that is glued into this piece, so it may not be all one continuous piece altogether. So, very nice. And then this is the piece that plugs into his back, and you can see it's got ports here for the wings, and then on the back here it's got that rectangular port that plugs into his back. And right here you'll notice there's a bit of a ring looking piece, and this is where the magic ring effect goes in this piece, and then it plugs into his back. So that's cool. Now here are his bow, or one of his bows. He has two, and they're both exactly alike, except one has wings on it, and I'm not sure why that is, but just the molded detail. I mean, look, it looks like bug legs. It's very kind of disturbing, I guess. And then you can see on here it's got like sight pieces where he lines up his shots. At least I'm assuming that's what it is. I'm not a bow guy, so I don't really know. Now you'll notice there is a string connecting at both ends of the bow, and what's cool about it is it's elastic. So that's pretty cool, and that holds true for both bows. Now over time this is going to stretch out, it's going to disintegrate, so you will have to at some point replace it, but you know, it's got loops on here, so it shouldn't really be something that is terribly hard to replace when necessary. And here's the other bow, and again, just about everything that I said about the other one, you know, holds true. It's pretty much the same thing, same paint apps and everything, except it's got these wings on the upper and lower part of it, and I got it upside down, of course. So there's that. It looks like mine's bent a little bit right here, or maybe it's supposed to be like that. I can't tell. I will have to take a closer look at it later, but if it is supposed to be like that, that does make it different than this. But it looks like maybe that piece is just bent, and perhaps I can bend it back without breaking it off. But just look at the wings. The wings are made out of a translucent plastic, and I don't know if this isn't, you know, like the color here is injected into the mold, or if it's added on the outside of it, or exactly how that works. But nonetheless, it's very wing looking. It's very, very cool. And speaking of wings, here's the last accessory, his wings. Now there's no, you know, like the wings don't separate. There's, you know, it's dual wings there, but they don't flap separately. They don't move up and down separately from each other. And then here is a little ball hinge, or a ball with a hinge rather, and you see this little bitty peg on it, and that's what plugs into that back piece. And you know what I just said about the wings on the bow, it holds true. It's got, you know, some color up here, and then it just kind of fades out, and then, you know, it's still like the segmented parts of the wings are still painted. So it must be a paint app on the outside, but just look at the details on that. And it's molded. It's not just, you know, on the inside, it's molded there. Of course, how else would it get there? I guess a paint app could do it, but that is not what's going on here. It is, you can feel it. So that's cool. And then, of course, everything I just said about the other wing, it holds true for this one. Peg, the hinged ball, and, you know, other than right here, that's the only wing movement we get. And of course, once you plug it in, you can, you know, make them go up and down, but they do not move. These two wings do not move independently of each other. Now, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. And so let's take a look at the figure himself. And you notice he's got like horn pieces, but they're bug legs. So for some folks that could be quite disturbing. You know, I don't really care for bugs. I'm not scared of them. But he also has some little horns here on the side too, and in between some of these legs he's got some horns sticking out as well. This piece is soft goods, and it is wired a little bit, I think. Maybe not, but it's a very stiff fabric piece, so I don't know if they like supercharged it with starch or what. And of course these are also separate pieces that I forgot to pull off, so there's that. And very nice looking, and you can see the detailed chain mail here, and it looks like it's got a little bit of a wash in it as well, and just a wash on the whole thing, and probably a silver paint app. So that's really cool looking. And the other one is just exactly the same, only for the opposite side. So I'm going to leave that one off, so when we go to looking at articulation. But I mean, just look at the eyes, look like, I don't know, pus-filled orbs, and just very sickly, decayed looking on the face. And it looks like there's a wash on it, there's paint on it. It's just creepily fantastic. And like, it looks like there's some fade going on back here, and it's splotchy. So really, really cool. And then his beard, of course, is, you know, it's painted, and then it looks like it has a wash in it too, just to kind of help it stand out, or at least the details of the strands. And look, there's a loose one. And we get up here to this part, and we've got some paint apps going on here and around. I think the whole thing is just painted, but very nice sculpted detail. I mean, just throughout, look how detailed, and the paint apps on it as well. And that, I wanted to say goes around the back, but the mail, the scale of it doesn't, but the details is still back there, and the wash as well. I mean, and then look at his belt buckle here. That's a nice paint app. And then he's got some extra bug legs on his belt, and some paint apps here, and a wash on it, and a sack full of disease here. And then here's another piece I forgot. No, I didn't forget to pull this off. That was a different figure. These are molded in there, but I mean, just look at the detail and the paint apps. And then here's another bug leg, and then with the belt splits off a little bit, and we've got this, and it's a wash. And like most of the other stuff, this one doesn't seem to be quite as soft as some of the other hip armors in the line, so that could hinder stuff just a little bit. And then we've got some soft goods down here, a bit of a tattered, well, several tattered pieces. Now this piece is wired. It does have some wire in it. I could feel it. It's very thin wire, but it's enough to hold it. Now this piece is not wired, and this inside piece also is wired, where the outside piece here again is not. But it's not wired down through the bottom, it's just wired along the edges. So that's really cool. Now the lower sections of him, you got some chainmail going on there, and some armor here, and just super sculpted details. And you can see it's got a bit of a wash on it, and I'm not sure if that's like to make it diseasey looking or dirty looking, like he just dug himself up out of a grave, or what's going on, but it's just excellent. The paint apps and the sculpting, and just the detail paid to this figure in general is just awesome. Now as far as looking up, he can look up that far, which isn't much. Down, he can look about straight ahead, so not a whole lot. He doesn't have any chicken neck. He's got some waggle in there. He can possibly do the full exorcist, Maybe not with the shoulder piece. And this piece just wants to move around with it. So he can do the full exorcist. Let's see if we can get that back into place. Alright, so that's good. An evil guy who does the full exorcist. 360 degrees of rotation at the shoulder, and he can lift up at the shoulder a little bit better than 90 degrees. Nothing in the bicep. Single hinge and swivel at the elbow, and it swivels around 360 degrees and gives you better than 90 degrees worth of bend there. Then it swivels around here at this piece, which looks like a separate piece, not like this piece slides on and off like a He-Man one, but it's an actual molded piece stuck to the arm. I hope that makes sense. And then another 360 degrees at the wrist on an in and out hinge, and you notice these are like the casting type hands, and then in and out hinge on the other side as well. And look at that, it popped out and popped right back in. So there is that. Now, nothing in the torso till you get down to the waist, and it's a ball joint at the waist. So he's got all kinds of hula going on there, spreading some diseases. And he can lean left and right pretty darn good. And now that I popped that off, you can see it's on a ball joint right there, or maybe a dumbbell. No, it looks just like a ball joint on a peg there. And so there's that. He can lean back about that far without popping off, and then, dang it, there I did it again, going forward, and about that far forward without popping off. And then he does get a 360 degree rotation there as well at the hips, and I'm gonna guess this is gonna hinder it a little bit, and if it doesn't, you're gonna bend it way up. But okay, so it does not hinder the articulation. He gives you the full splits, pretty good for a diseased guy. And then kicking forward, not quite 90 degrees, and then back. This could be hindering the articulation a little bit, but it feels like that's as far as the joint moves. So backwards like a mule. Then I do believe at the thigh there's a cut. Negative. That is not the case. However, he does have a single hinge and swivel at the knee. Swivels around 360 degrees at the right angle, or the correct angle, and then gives you not quite 90 degrees worth of bend at the knee. Now at the ankle, tilts down that far, tilts up that far, and forward facing pin for rocker. Now, as far as all of the pieces go, I guess we can try to get through that kind of quickly. Maybe we can. So, these ports here, the shoulder armor plugs into. And again, that's optional. You don't have to put any of this on him if you don't want to. So, this is an optional piece as well. Now, something I had problems with were the knife and the sheath. I couldn't get it on his belt properly like I wanted it, and so that's something I'll have to work at later, and I will work at it later. And here we have this piece that plugs into his back, and before you put that on, you want to get this piece, and you have to put the angle of the square there has to go down so that it fits in there properly. And don't expect it to like click or anything like that once you get it in there. If you click it, you probably pressed it too hard and broke it. But once you get that in there, you know, you line up this rectangular peg and this rectangular port and just pop it in, and you'll notice that kind of flops around a little bit. So fix it the best you can without breaking it. And then again, here's these little ports for these little pegs. And I have to say, it feels like the wings sit a little low on this guy, and maybe that's just me, and maybe the whole line is like that, where the wings sit here below the shoulders. And if that's the case, I guess it's okay. It just feels a little low to me. And again, once you get those in there, you can swing them up and down, and they will go in and out. Be careful with them, because they don't really like to stay in. At least mine don't. And then, as far as the last piece that I'm going to fit on here during the review, is the quiver. And I feel like it goes right here on this belt. And I had a little issues getting this on too, just because of the location of it. Alright, so there we go. And of course the wing falls out again. So not the biggest fan of these wings. Alright, and there you have it, my friends. There's a look at the figure and his accessories. It's time for my favorite part of a review, comparisons. And here we have the Mythic Legions Poxxus with the old Toy Biz Lord of the Rings Gandalf the White, the Figura Obscura Sun Wukong the Monkey King, and the Savage Crucibles Lumerian Royal Guard. For our final set of comparisons, here we have the Mythic Legions Poxxus, with from the Marvel Legends series making his cameo appearance, Stan the Man Lee. From the G.I. Joe Classified series, the Hasbro Pulse exclusive Regal variant Cobra Commander. From Star Wars The Black Series, the Archive Edition 501st Legion Clone Trooper. And for a 7-inch scale comparison, from the Masters of the Universe Masterverse line, the 40th Anniversary He-Man. For final thoughts on the Four Horsemen's Mythic Legions Poxxus, I have to say, for the most part, I really like this figure. The elastic for the bowstring, although, you know, that's probably not going to last over time. I do like that as a feature in the accessories. I like the overall look and deco of this figure. He's supposed to be like the god of disease, or splits plagues, or spreads plagues is his evil power, and he looks the part. And just like the crown that he has, and it's made out of these bug legs stuck in his head, and then he has some horns in addition to that as well, it just gives an overall creepiness to this guy, which is, you know, it's rightly so, because, you know, plagues and stuff are creepy and they're gross, and this guy is representative of that. I do really think so. Now, I do have a few, I don't know, nitpicks, I guess, with this figure. The magic circle piece that fits into the back piece there, it doesn't stay very well, and I wish it clipped in a little bit better. The wings, I would have liked for As you can see, there's 2 wings on each side, a larger wing, a smaller wing. And I would have liked for those to articulate independently instead of being molded there as one piece. Now the colors on it, the sculpting on the wings are great. For me personally, this piece that holds the wings, it makes the wings sit a little low, in my opinion. Of course, your mileage may vary, but my opinion is the wings feel like they sit a little low. They should, to me, it feels like they should be a little higher up on the shoulders. Another thing about the wings is when you're moving them, they do not like to stay popped into place, so to speak. So they will inevitably, while you're moving them, they will come out and you'll have to stick them back in. And sometimes they don't hold a pose. So one of them is kind of really tight and one of them is really loose. Or kind of loose. I won't say it's super loose, it's kind of loose. I like the fact that he comes with 2 bows. One is like, I'm guessing, a regular bow, and then there's one with the wings on it that I think is supposed to be representative of the one where he shoots plagues with the arrows. And, you know, I think that's really cool. And this guy does come with a lot of accessories. All the accessories are not here. And they all look really cool. And again, this guy himself, I think he looks really cool. He looks the part that he's supposed to play within the line. And I really enjoyed taking a look at this figure. Well, that does it for the review. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it. Only support from viewers like you make this programming possible. Each view does count, and I do appreciate each and every single view that I receive. Thank you, and thank you so very, very much for supporting this channel through viewing. If you are interested in supporting my channel further, I am now offering memberships at various tiers. Click the join button on my YouTube page, or check this video's description for the link, and see if any membership offers are right for you, but only if you are in a position to do so. Comment below, like, share, subscribe if you would like to see more content or just help the channel grow, or both. That's even better. And don't forget to ding that bell so that in the future you will be notified as my new content becomes available. That's a wrap, folks. I'll see you next time.